Hello, I'm Adam Alasdair, and this is another installment of a series of videos that I'm doing concerning the zombie apocalypse and survival in the zombie apocalypse. And today I want to talk about something that has nothing to do with weapons, really, or warfare, but it may be as crucial in some respects as anything else you might find useful in the apocalypse, and that's adult beverages, alcohol. So why is this something that you should think about in the zombie apocalypse? Well, actually, it's really important because with the collapse of civilization, what you've got in a lot of ways is a sort of a reversion to the medieval world or the antique world, and certainly in terms of lots of the technology that we take for granted. We won't have all of the modern conveniences, electricity and water and so forth. And so it's specifically in relation to water that I am championing this material today, the famous and thousand-year-old invention that we call beer, or thousands of years old, I suppose. It's predating history in its earliest form, although the earliest types of beer are fairly nasty if you've ever encountered them. But still, beer is important because of what happens to the water supply in the aftermath of the collapse of society. So right now we have water pressure, and a lot of this is supplied by water towers and so forth that pump water up into the tower at night, and then it's flowing back down and providing pressure into the system. And so when you turn on your tap, the water flows. And so the problem with this is that after all of the electricity goes out in most places, which will only take between a week and 2 weeks, depending on where you are, that means the pumps that deal with water towers, the sort of apparatus that makes sure that water flows when you turn on the faucet, that's going to go away. It'll take a while, depending on where you are, probably faster in some places and slower in others, but eventually the water supply, the clean water supply that you have is going to run out, and you'll be dependent upon that at that point upon other types of water sources, whether this is stored bottled water or the contents of a toilet tank or a stream or whatever else you can get. And I'm serious about the toilet tank thing, especially since I am in the Southwest at the moment in Tucson. The failure of the water supply in Tucson would be devastating to the people that lived here if they were trying to survive, because the water would be killing them, the lack of water, just as much as anything else stemming from the apocalypse. So you really need to consider water supplies. Well, the thing about alcohol and water supply is that ancient people tended to drink quite a bit, in part because even a few percentage points of alcohol in something is going to kill most of the things that are harmful to the human body. And so alcohol naturally purifies the stuff that you drink. If you went back to Greco-Roman antiquity, you'll find that people are drinking an awful lot of wine that they're mixing with water. The Greeks and Romans produced a fairly syrupy, sweet, thick wine that they then would water down when they consumed it. So there's a whole preparation process involved. And you're diluting it probably to the level of about light beer, say. So this is not nearly as strong as wine that we would consider to be wine. They did this in part because that's safe to drink. The alcohol that you add to the water purifies it, so you're not going to get any sort of nasty intestinal parasite. So alcohol is safe to drink. This isn't advocating that you should be stumbling about the apocalypse, drunk out of your mind or anything like that, because a drunk survivor is going to be less able to fight off the bandits or zombies that you might need to deal with. But you do need to consider the fact that many of the water sources that you have available after the fall of civilization may be polluted in some way. There's going to be lots of unburied corpses, presumably. We'll have the sewage treatment plants will break down. Basically, lots of water sources that we're used to trusting are going to be polluted in one way or another, and then you need to consider how you deal with this. And one way, an ancient way, is to use alcohol. The very least, you know that it's safe to drink. I suppose there's the issue of the morale-boosting effects of the fun qualities of adult beverages like beer and wine and so forth, but these are also something something that can save your life in a lot of ways. Ancient armies, for example, always traveled with quantities of usually wine, so that this would not only keep the soldiers happy, but also keep them safe from whatever was in the water supply in a particular area as they moved through it. It was often disastrous if the alcohol supply ran out from some way or another, because not only did that make the soldiers unhappy, it opened them up to getting all sorts of sicknesses from the water supplies that they were drinking, things that they weren't used to because they moved into an area where they weren't used to living there. So that the alcohol that you have in the apocalypse, and it's not going to go bad that quickly, is actually a valuable tool that you should consider looking for, especially in terms of drinking. And of course, there is the morale issue, and also certain types of alcohol are good for disinfecting wounds and something like this. So it's a sort of multifunctional thing. That bottle of vodka that you swipe from the half-looted store is going to be something that might save your life. Right? So in the apocalypse, drink up.